Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by eBay. I'm Dave DuFour here with Zena, Keita, and Baraheni. Coming up, fall back, set your clocks. Wow, what a disaster of a week we have ahead of us. The Thunder are 7-0. They're the only undefeated team left in the NBA. We're going to talk about that. And Ja Morant. Woo, suspension. Is he going to get traded? We're going to speculate. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, guys.
Dave.
Yeah, I guess it's good. I guess it's good.
Listen, we fell back this weekend for some reason. We're still doing this.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure why. In 2025, we're still doing it. There are headlights on tractors now. I don't know if you guys know this. They do exist. So, we don't have to actually play with our entire bodies for a week to deal with the clock. But anyway, guys, big weekend. We had NBA Cup Friday night on Halloween. We had whatever the heck is going on with Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. I think I want to start there because this is the biggest story in the NBA right now. Ja Morant was suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies for conduct detrimental to the team. He missed Sunday's game, which you got a chance to see him up close. The Grizzlies up there in Toronto. He wasn't there for that game. And his absence was felt because the Grizzlies just don't really have anything on the ball offensively without him out there. But I want to go back to the game that he essentially was suspended for, right? He looked absolutely lackadaisical in that game the other night. And I felt as if, when we heard about, his statement, when he said, when asked about his performance in the game, that the coaching staff basically told him that he shouldn't have played, that he shouldn't have been out there. And frankly, when you go and watch, they were right.
Yeah.
Zena, look, your job as the point guard, like you have to have more energy than everybody else. You got to play hard. And especially when you're giving it up on the other end the way Ja does, right? Like, it's not like this guy is a two-way monster or anything. Frankly, he didn't look like he wanted to be out there.
Yeah, the body language was concerning. I felt like there's got to be something deeper to it because we know Ja is this explosive player. He loves to have the ball in his hands, to be leading his team. And I do think that there's another layer to it. And, reading the reports about what was said, that we all saw the video, but also just what's been discussed behind the scenes. Like, I do feel like there's an autonomy play here, and where Ja Morant is a very improvisational player. Like, he likes to have that freedom to play free and just being able to go out in open space and get to the rack at will. And that offense worked. Remember, before Isala was there under Jenkins, they had that under Taylor Jenkins. And then you look at the numbers that Ja Morant is putting up this year. His minutes are a bit lower, about 2 minutes lower. His 3-point percentage has been split in half. He's 15%. He's averaging the lowest amount that he's had since his sophomore season.
More air balls than makes, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a problem. That is a problem. And so I can imagine that he's looking at Isala. He's looking at the system that is very more structured than he typically is used to. And he's like, this doesn't fit me. And so it's really right now a battle between this high freedom player and a high structured system. And Isala has a job to protect and Ja Morant has a job that he wants to do. So it's going to be interesting how this comes to heads.
Yeah, look, so I got a chance to ask Thomas Isalo about Ja Morant and what went into their decision. And he basically said, like, organizationally, he didn't meet the standards for what we expect. And you could tell on Friday night, even on the court, he didn't meet the standards of basically any NBA team in terms of the effort that he was putting out there on both sides of the floor. The number that jumps out to me when it comes to Ja is rim frequency. Every single year, he has got to the rim less and less. And if you're not that explosive athlete, that guy who's barreling to the basket, the freak athlete, honestly, that we've seen Ja be, you're not effective on the floor. And like you said with those shooting numbers, if you're not spacing the floor either, you're not that good of an offensive player.
If I can push back on the rim numbers just a little bit, part of that is because there's been an emphasis on he needs to shoot more threes. He needs to shoot more off the dribble threes, especially, right? Yeah. So some of that is a stylistic choice. But you're right. When the shots don't fall, man, that number has to go through the roof. Like, that is actually Ja Morant's calling card, because no coach in their right mind, if you can get to the basket every time, is going to say, hey, you know what? Pull up. No. Go to the basket every single time. Like, that is
And you know what? Like the other thing I'll just say on that is I think some of him looking and feeling disinterested on the floor has to do with over the last couple of years, the Grizzlies have made it known that this is now Jaren Jackson Jr.'s team.
Right.
Like we are leaning towards building around him. We're grabbing wings. We're grabbing other creators. We got Cedric Howard, who we really believe in. I do think they are slowly but surely making this team built around Jaren Jackson Jr. And how does that feel if you're Ja Morant?
Can I add two more stats into this?
On the Izolo thing, I just real quick, I want to talk about this because an interview has popped up that I saw like on YouTube from Izolo from months ago, sometime in the early spring, where he talked about actually confronting players in front of their teammates in the locker room and calling them out when they're kind of acting wrong or in a way that's detrimental to the team. And apparently that's what happened. And Ja was not happy about it. Yeah. And when he was asked about it, he was very upset about it. It was pretty clear. And it feels like this relationship is getting a little sour. But sorry, Zena, back to your stats. Sorry.
No, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were finishing up on that thought, but you're right. The story is it happened in a film session, felt called out, and that's why I'm feeling as if this structured environment in which there is a system and a regiment that you have to abide by may be conflicting with the way that Ja Morant likes to play and also how he likes to lead this team. But there are two things that he's always probably also looking at, and I'm so happy you brought up the Jaren Jackson Jr. aspect. Of the top 3 producing lineups for Memphis Grizzlies right now, Jaren Jackson's only in one of them. Of the top 5 in their, and most productive. I'm sure they want more of that. When Ja Morant is off the floor, the assist rate for the Memphis Grizzlies goes up 15%. That's not a casual
That's
number.
Staggering. Wow.
That's staggering. Yeah. When Ja Morant is off the floor, their offense is 8 points better. So Izalo, who focuses on offense, probably is looking at that. And he's also probably looking at Jaren Jackson Jr., who can space the floor, who can finish at the rim, who can do a lot of the things that works in an offense, and being like, we need to find a way to make this more of a focal point. And if Ja's kind of in the middle of that I can see where he's coming from. But I always am going to take a little bit of like, I understand the frustration that Ja has. He just can't let that translate onto the floor in his product, because if you get moved, other teams are looking at that too.
Yeah. And by the way, this is one of the things that I think people were worried about when they lost Desmond Bane, that his leadership voice in the locker room was really important. Jaren Jackson's not the most outspoken guy in the locker room. But apparently Desmond Bane was sort of the adult in the room all the time. And so now it's up to the coaches, right? Like that's their job. And it seems like Izolo is following his blueprint. We'll see if that works in the NBA, buddy. I'm just not sure. Where you guys, I know you guys are like me. First thing I think, who's going to trade for Ja? December 15th is right around the corner, unfortunately. Like we're hearing Christmas music in the mall already, guys. Zena, you got a fake trade?
See, I'm actually not that way. I'm always like, figure it out, guys, work it out. But I did think about this, and I wanted to ask you, S, about a potential trade that I put through. In my mind, I immediately went and thought about pace, right? Ja Morant likes a faster pace, and who's in the top 10 or so? Guess what? The Toronto Raptors are in that mix. And I was thinking, could Ja Morant be an upgrade for Emmanuel Quickly?
Well, yes.
Right?
He absolutely would be.
Absolutely would be, right?
I'll answer that.
Throw in an Agbaje, like maybe that right there, that combination alone. I mean, Quickly's getting paid some significant dollars, by the way.
The contract is tough.
The contract is big. So I'm just saying it could equal out if you switch that out. So what are your thoughts of having the pace of Ja Morant being the force with RJ and Scotty alongside them?
Initial thought is that this team would love to have another guy who can create off the bounce. The other thoughts that I have is like, would the Grizzlies even remotely be interested in taking on Emmanuel Quickly's contract? That seems unlikely given the amount of years on it. But at the same time,
Scotty's hurt. Scottie Pippen is hurt.
Scottie Pippen Jr. is hurt. You're right.
They need a guard. They need a guard.
Oh, I saw it tonight against the Raptors. They need a guard. They did not have any. God bless Cam Spencer. They did not have anybody else who could dribble the basketball.
He's a shooting guard. They need a
Cam
point.
Spencer, starting point guard, Memphis Grizzlies.
They need a point.
By the way, ball swallowed Cam Spencer.
A little stat that popped up a couple places. This would have been the first time if he had played on Sunday, Ja Morant, would have been the first time since 2023 that he played 7 games in a row. Wow. Availability is also a skill, and I think that is going to affect his trade market.
Let me get back to you about. Let me get back to you on the Raptors stuff, because I think there's a possibility that makes sense, but at the same time, like, this is something I'll throw back to you guys. What is Ja Morant's value right now in the marketplace? Like, what team, what player, what franchise is looking at what Ja Morant has done over the last couple of years and says, you know what, that's
worth the
guy.
risk. Yeah,
I got another one. I got thoughts. I'm looking at Portland. You got Scoot on the bench. You've got 2 older players in Drew Holiday and Dame Lillard, which he has to come back from injury.
Yeah.
Right now, imagine a Shaedon Sharpe, Ja Morant duo.
It's fun. Yeah.
It'll be
it's
fun.
definitely fun.
I don't see that front office making that move.
Absolutely not. This is for fun, guys. This is for fun.
I do think we're going to find out a lot about Ja Morant and how the league feels about him over the course of the next few weeks. Once the rumors start hitting,
Brooklyn Nets.
That is where it's tracking to me. Also,
I
have to think,
with
like,
Cam Thomas?
What is Memphis?
I just think they like stars. They need someone to be a star in Brooklyn and to fill seats. And Ja Morant is that.
It 100%. Tracks. Yeah, for sure. Guys, the Thunder moved to 7-0 on Sunday, destroying the New Orleans Pelicans, who they lost their 3rd game by 30 points this season. They are 0-6, the Pelicans. Willie Green's seat is not hot. That thing melted. It's gone. It was, someone took that seat and they chopped it up and they used it for kindling and they threw it in the fireplace and they threw gasoline on it.
Oh my God.
The entire book of matches. 0-6, 3 of those losses by at least 30 points. And yes, they're losing to good teams, and they are not a good team. But Willie Green, this is a front office that already wanted to move on from Willie Green. This start to the season was extremely important to them after the summer that they had, and that they've started 0-6. Now, look, losing to the Thunder, I don't know, man. You're going to lose to the Thunder. I mean, I looked at the schedule for the Thunder. I'm not sure when the Thunder are going to lose, much less the New Orleans Pelicans having any hope of coming in and winning. But Zena, you have to win a basketball game at some point. They have nothing to lose for. They need to win.
This is Willie Green's 5th season. And, as much as we've heard these rumors that Willie Green was up for potential termination, I do feel like there's someone in that Pels organization that had just the benefit of the doubt for Willie Green. And I have to give it to him too. I think this is the first season that I'm like, okay, bro, you got to figure some stuff out, because let's just be real. When he started in 2021, Zion Williamson didn't play.
Yep.
This was what your whole offense was supposed to be about, right?
Yep.
Then the next year, you've got, I think your best player was like Jonas Valanciunas. That was like your top win share generator. Cool. The next year, he kind of drops down in his production. Who steps up? Trey Murphy. The next year after that, what happens to Trey Murphy? He's hurt from the summer from a knee injury. He doesn't start playing until December 1st. And mind you, Zion also didn't play more than 30 games that season. Right?
And Brandon Ingram was also in and out of the lineup constantly.
Literally,
too. Yep.
Literally, you could go down the list from DeJounte Murray up and to 3 starters for the Pelicans that did not play more than 31 games that season.
Yeah.
He has not had the benefit of consistency, I would say, until this season. And that is why I feel like this is the year that, the Pelicans are going to be like, okay, we've been patient. We've understood. We've been empathetic. A lot of these things were not in your control. Health, absolutely not in your control. Us moving folks, us making these bizarre trades, that's out of your control. But you got to start winning with the materials that we put on the court for you. And I do think that now there's some questions around Willie Green.
Okay, I'm going to jump in on that. What are the materials on the court right now?
It's a bad roster.
Well,
I'm not saying this is right, S. I'm just saying what it is.
To this point, S, though, I don't think that, yes, I don't think that the materials are correct to be winning on anything, but is that they think the roster they put together is enough to win, right? So now they're going to be like, do something, like poking this roster and being like, do something.
Yeah, look, to me, I agree with you that Willie Green has not gotten the fair shake of having a consistent, good roster. We cannot call this Pelicans team a good roster.
We can't.
And I mean, overall, I think this is a gap in communication between a front office who built a team and completely mortgaged its immediate future with that 2026 pick trade that is still a laughable, like ridiculous trade when you look back at it. And it might look worse depending on where that pick falls. A gap between the front office who believes this team can be better than it is and a coach who is trying to teach a very, very young and inexperienced team with Zion at the helm of it how to learn how to win. And those two things are not the same. They're just not the same. And by the way, it's resulting in 30-point losses because the players aren't responding to the type of coaching. Everybody has put on this expectation that they need to win, which is ridiculous. And now you're stuck in a situation where everybody's pointing fingers. The front office is saying, well, it's the coach. The coach is saying, well, what am I supposed to do? The players aren't good. I don't know.
The coach gets fired in this situation is 100%. What happens. The front office isn't going to fire itself. They just got there. The players don't get fired. Yeah, going to be we're on Willie Green watch this week.
And by the way, the Pelicans have some fun players. Like Jeremiah Fears looks cool. Derek Queen looks cool. But it's just tough. Very tough.
Yep. Guys, stick around after the break. We're going to talk through some injury news and how the Bulls and Spurs are no longer undefeated. Well, we're down to one undefeated team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, but the Bulls and Spurs were undefeated going into Sunday, and there was a lot of hope around here, at least, because, former Bulls fan, I'd like to see them do pretty well. But the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama is must watch. I mean, I essentially have seen every single minute of this guy's career because at any moment he may do something you've never seen before. And guess what? He did something that we have never seen before in the NBA. He only scored 9 points in spite of playing for 34 minutes. It's the first time in his career that he played at least 30 minutes and did not score double digits as the Suns beat the Spurs 131-18. Guys, I was impressed with the way that the Suns played defense against Wemby. They were in his grill. They were into his body early and often. It reminds me of the way that Oklahoma City has guarded him in the past. And it bothered him. He took 2 shots, Zena, in the first quarter. One of those was a putback attempt with 3 guys in his chest. I mean, they were clearly committed to just hit him as much as you can, make him feel like it's a football game and bother him. And it did. There's a good, that's a little bit of a recipe.
Oh yeah. I was going to say the game tape is being passed around right now of just how you level up the physicality, but also it wasn't just being physical. It was the positioning, right? Like I remember in college, we had to front the post. Yep. One of the worst things you have to do. It is constant footwork, constant head turns. My neck hurts thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Trying to match hands with someone like the size of Wemby. Like you just saw the Phoenix Suns just doing such a great job of being able to continuously move around Wemby, never allowing him to get his feet settled in any space. Even when he did catch the ball, it was immediate like collapse. So yeah, there are a lot of coaches that are like, oop, chop up the film. Let's run this back. This is exactly, regardless of size. You didn't even need Iguodala's size. You didn't need Ryan Dunn's size. You didn't need man size. You just needed people that were active and committed to the task of making him feel like he was never alone.
I think the coolest part about trying to guard Wemby is that smaller players with a lower center of gravity who he can't dribble around because he dribbles so high compared to some of these other guys makes it so that there actually is an advantage to guarding him with smaller players. And that's why coming into this year, it was how is he going to deal with mismatches in the post? How is he going to be able to just impose himself physically? And I think so far he's been awesome, like MVP level player, But you're going to have
something
nights
like
this.
60% of his shots in the paint.
Yeah. The shot diet has completely changed for Victor Wembanyama. It's just that there are going to be nights where a team is going to have smaller guards and smaller wings who can actually pressure you. The Suns did a pretty good job of that tonight. So he has to learn. He has to figure out how, one, a double is coming. I got to make a play. I got to make a read. I got to get the defense in rotation. So that's the next step.
Passing is the next part of his game that needs to level up. He's probably got to be a triple-double guy ish, or at least threaten that because of how much he's going to touch the basketball, how much defensive attention he's going to draw. And so once he gets better, and look, nobody can see the floor like this guy because no one has their eyes as high up as his. So he should be pretty good at this. And he already has shown some skill at it. But, it's nice to see that this guy, he's just not already there, right? Yeah, he's human. You know what? It's a bad game. And we need to note, Dylan Harper left this game with a calf injury. And then Spurs reporter Mike Finger, he's reporting that Dylan Harper left the arena on crutches. So that's something to watch as we're looking forward. Dylan Harper's had a great start to the year and has actually been kind of a key to what they've done so far with De'Aaron Fox out. And so, their inability to get this game close in the second half, I think partially was because they didn't have him coming off the bench and adding firepower. Losing on Sunday, the Bulls. They beat the Knicks on Friday in the game I thought that they were going to lose because the cup games just mean more to the Bulls. And then they blow it on Sunday. It was bound to end at some point, but you just don't expect them to lose games when Josh Giddey gets a triple-double.
Look, I think what has been really intriguing about the Bulls so far is that they were like a top 3 or 4 defense in the league. And I'm going to tell you right now, that was so fake, so incredibly
the Jedi
fake.
3-point defense.
It was Jedi 3-point defense. Exactly, Dave. Opponents were shooting like 29% at one point in the season on Chicago. The Bulls conceded 47% tonight against the Knicks. The Knicks had
and 40 on Friday to the Knicks.
Exactly. So like the 3-point shooting variance is coming back. It's coming back down to earth. The Knicks are playing some better basketball, although we'll see what happens with the Josh Hart situation, which we'll get into.
Just about to say, yeah.
Generally, 3-point shooting defense is the big reason their defense was kind of fake, fugazi, if you will.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to dig into the Knicks more. Obviously, it's new coaching staff; they're kind of doing new stuff, so they're gonna have some growing pains here at the start. Mikal Bridges is a guy that night and day difference between last year and this year. Under Mike Brown's coaching and offense, I think he looks 10 times better. And you mentioned Josh Hart. This is something we're going to have to watch. Josh Hart, it was reported by our own James Edwards and Fred Katz that Josh Hart is dealing with sort of nerve issue in his fingers. It's clearly affecting his game, although he had a really nice game on Sunday. Of course, he did, as soon as we want to say, hey, he's hurt, he goes out and he puts up 14 points. He hits a 3. His minutes are down from last year. He's not starting. He's coming off the bench. If he were to have surgery for this injury, the report says he would miss like 3 months. I wonder if he's playing through the injury because, hey, you never know. You can lose your role in the NBA no matter who you are. And Josh Hart already going to this deeper bench role, I start to worry, Zena, is this a guy who's playing hurt because he doesn't want to lose that spot?
I mean, I can see how you could think that. I think that that's a valid.
I mean, he's a gamer too. Don't get me wrong.
But that's where I think it lands. Yeah, I think that's where it lands. I feel like he's out there with his boys, and there does seem like there's a new leaf being turned in New York, and there's this excitement around what their offense looks like and how everyone can contribute to it. I mean, you saw not only Josh Hart coming off the bench, but Landry Shamet going off the bench as well, being able to contribute. And I just feel like all of these guys are just like, I want to be a part of this. Now, Josh Hart, we know that in the Thibodeau days, he was, even if he wasn't hurt, we don't even know what injuries he could have been dealing with really under that, but he was still playing ridiculous minutes. And at the end of these games, still crashing the glass as if he had never came off the bench. Yeah. So this is going to be very much his personality regardless. I would hope that he doesn't continue to play through this. I mean, we're hearing from that report with James Edwards, like, he's losing feeling in his hand doing everyday things. Like,
that's scary.
That's scary. Like, that's when you're talking about the fact that Josh Hart is a father. He's got other things to do outside of the basketball court. Like, you definitely want to be mindful of that. And I would hope that this team, with this new resurgence in their offense and the way they're playing connected under Mike Brown, he could go get that and be able to come back. Maybe by the
I would think
playoffs.
so. I mean, he's got to think about the dexterity that's involved in picking up Mike and Ike's. You know, like those things are that's difficult.
Or trying breast milk, because that's what he did, right?
Okay.
If you guys remember.
And a little bit more injury news. The Atlanta Hawks are going to be without Trae Young for 4 weeks or so before he is re-examined with that sprained knee. They are now 1-1 in 2 games without him. They won their cup game on Friday. They dropped a game to the Cavs on Sunday. Guys, listen, I don't want to be extreme here, but in these 2 games without Trae Young out there, I have seen some clarity for the Hawks. And I have seen a couple guys, Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson, taking on different roles. Dyson Daniels being more on the ball. He just looks like he knows what he's supposed to do in a way where he did not to start the year. And I look, Dyson Daniels has played well next to Trae Young, but this is a different team without Trae Young. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a two-way guy. He was awesome on Friday. I don't know, man. This team has a little bit of it walks differently without Trae Young.
They obviously are better defensively without Trae Young. And so that starting lineup looks a lot better when it's Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson Daniels at the point of attack, and you have Jalen Johnson and Kristaps Porzingis. Like that sounds like a really good defensive team out the gate. How they survive offensively, I think they still need Trae's creation and just pick and roll craft to be able to get these guys going. The key question I have moving forward with the Hawks is, how do you play your best basketball for both of your star creators? Because maybe it means staggering those guys more often, where there is a Jalen Johnson version of this team and a Trae Young version of this team, and they play separately. Like a lot of teams do this. They have to. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Pistons last year, they tried to do it with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. There's like a yin and yang type of thing, kind of clashes together with the play styles. But I think they need to do that once Trae gets healthy. And in the meantime, find your identity with Jalen Johnson as your offensive hub. I think he has the potential to do that. He can get to the rim. He can create his own shots. He's good at making plays. He runs in transition. This dude is a guy who can be an all-star. So I think it's finding 2 different versions of yourself, which in the end will make them more versatile.
I'm happy you brought up Jalen Johnson. I think there was a little bit of, we don't know exactly what to expect out of Jalen Johnson this year just because he went out so early last year, but we knew he was going to be good. The person that we all expected to take a step forward was Dyson Daniels. And that's the player that in the last 2 games, I've been like, whoa, okay. 18 points scored in the last 2 games, incredibly efficient from the floor, 60% higher. In the 3 before that, he hadn't been higher than 33% from the floor.
Yeah.
He was struggling. And I think there was a little bit of indecision of, where do I fit? What do I do? Am I a playmaker? Am I supposed to be getting into the teeth of defense and then passing out, which you saw him do a lot more of on Sunday and Friday night. He just felt like he was more in control. Now, we know the Hawks are like 17 points better because, Trae Young is on the floor. Their assist rate is better, et cetera. But they've got to find some synergy to be able to get, especially the likes of a Jalen Johnson, but also Dyson Daniels, to become back into that 2-way. So not only do you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker playing 2-way, you've got Dyson Daniels playing 2-way, and you've got all these materials around you actually playing within their roles. I just like what this is doing for confidence, at least for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
By the way,
if they can plug Trae back into something that's a little bit got more continuity, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Guys, Trae was shooting 19% from 3 to start this year. I think some of that inefficient, slow start is also kind of painting this image for us of why Trae was struggling to start the year and why the Hawks were struggling. If Trae is the version of Trae that we expect him to be, I think that the outlook looks very differently for the Hawks.
Things start to fall into place if Trae Young is actually your best player like he's supposed to be. Yep. Yeah. All right. We got a big week coming up, guys. I mean, look. Thunder are losing to the Clippers on Tuesday. I'm just going to call it right now. It's going to happen. I'm
going to say it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
West Coast road trip.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's going to happen. LA nightlife guys undefeated. NBA Daily, undefeated. Everybody, thanks for listening. Leave us your comment. Let us know, when are the Thunder going to lose this week? Let us know on YouTube in the comment section. Yeah, give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. For Zena, Keita, and Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.